All right, so the next our task for today is multiplying algebraic expressions. Again, it's important to know and to recognize that this is a multiplication. You have one parenthesis and another parenthesis. Each one of them has different factors, and there's no symbol here. There's no addition, subtraction. That means that is multiplication. Okay, a little bit of review. When we multiply, say for instance 4x, and we multiply that with 3x squared, something like that. So remember this x right here, that's the base, that's also the base. If you do not have an exponent, that means 1. So when we multiply this, we only multiply the coefficients, so that's 12, and then we multiply the x's, but then we only add the exponent, so 1 plus 3. Okay, let's try another example before we move on to this. Let's say you have 2x squared y, and multiply that one by 5x, just 5x. Okay, all right, so now again, the coefficients, 5 times 2, that's going to be 10. Now you have two variables here, x and y. This y has an exponent of 1, and then this x right here is an exponent of x. So when you multiply this, you only multiply the same coefficient, the same letters, the same variable, but you add an exponent. So the x and the x becomes x to the third, because 2 times 1. And there's really nothing to multiply with y in here because there's no y in the second one. So there you just copy the y. Of course, if the exponent is 1, you don't really have to write the exponent. So the simplified form will be just that. Okay? All right, let's try another one. All right, negative x y parentheses 4x squared, y to the fourth. Okay. All right. So now we multiply the coefficients and coefficients. You don't have a coefficient that's showing in here, so that means it's a negative 1. So that is going to be negative 4. Negative 1 times 4. X times x squared, that's going to be x squared, x cubed, because this is a power of 1. This is also power of 1. So that will become y to the power of 5. Okay, so that's the basic review in here. Okay, so let's move on to this. So in the first factor, you have a binomial. You have two terms, and you have trinomial on the second term. So we will have to distribute each one of the first factor to each one of the second factor. Okay. All right, so let's do that. So let's start with 2y first. So we will multiply 2y to that one, 2y to that one, and 2y to that one. Okay? All right, so the first one will be with 2y. So 2 times 6, that's going to be, now remember that 2y means 2y to the power of 1, right? So, okay, so 2 times 6, you have 12y to the power of 4 because you add the exponent. Now 2y times 4xy, this x right here is an exponent of 1, the y has an exponent of 1. So therefore 2 times 4, that's going to be a positive 8. Y times y squared up times y, but there's no x here, so we'll just have to copy the x. And then y1 times y1, that's going to be y squared. All right, so next is 2y times negative 8. The 8 does not have any letters, so therefore we will just multiply it with 2. Positive times negative, you have 16y. So you're done with the 2y. Now let's do the positive 3. So the same thing, you will multiply positive 3 to each one of these, okay? So let's do that. 3 times 6, you have positive 18y cubed. 3 times positive 4xy, so you only multiply the coefficients, plus 12xy, and then positive 3 times negative 8, you have negative 24. Next, you will have to check if there are any like terms that you can combine, okay? So let's do that. Are there any other y to the fourth? No, not really. So that's the first one I'm going to write, y to the fourth. So this is done. Now, what's the next exponent? You have 3. So now we will do plus 18y cubed. So this is gone. Okay, so next one is we have xy squared and xy. They're not really like terms, so therefore we'll just have to write them one at a time. 8xy squared, so that's gone. And then this is next plus 12xy, that's gone. Next one is 16y, negative 16y. and minus 24. So it so happened in this multiplication task that you do not have any like terms, so therefore you just get to write every single one. You don't really have to write it on the last one. You can keep it this way depending on how simplified you want it to be, but normally what we do want is to arrange them in this, arrange the exponents in descending order. So this is your answer.